大家好，欢迎来到表叔侃世界。今天呢，我们再次邀请我的好朋友 Frank McNeil 来到我们表叔侃世界来聊一聊美国大选的结果。前几天呢，我请 Frank 在我们的节目上曾经聊了一下这个大选的情况。他当时是认为贺锦丽一定能够赢得这次大选，但是呢，这个结果并不是他所想象的那样。那么今天呢，我请 Frank 再来聊一聊究竟是什么原因造成了贺锦丽大选的失利。在聊之前呢，对于首次观看我节目的朋友们，介绍一下 Frank。Frank 呢，过去曾经在我们伊利诺伊州参议院工作，一直从事民主党的这个工作，也是资深的民主党人，又是我们这个城市伊利诺伊州首府斯普林菲尔德的市议员。后来呢，又是我们伊利诺伊州交通部的副部长，当时他是我的顶头上司，所以呢，他是一位非常资深的民主党人，也是非常热心民主党基层组织的人。那今天呢，我们就来跟他聊一聊。Hi Frank, thank you very much for coming back. So people are really interested in learning why Kamala Harris lost this time.
Brian, there are a number of reasons. We could talk all day.About the number of reasons. Let me give some primary reasons. I think there were, one, the underestimation of the Trump campaign and its impact and the buy-in that a lot of people had in the Trump campaign. Number two, I think as much as the abortion issue was a primary issue, I think there was over-reliance on the abortion issue, and I think they thought they would get an overwhelming response from women, which did not happen because she underperformed in so many areas that to me, even though she did well, she won certain cities and states and things, the primary, the blue wall states where she thought she would increase the women vote, it did not happen.
Okay.
And she also, if you look at the numbers clearly, Joe Biden got a lot of the older white male vote that I think she lost. And another issue was, of course, Hispanic men. It's very clear now that Hispanic men, and I think that's more of a misogyny issue of men not wanting women to take the leadership position. But also, I think there was some fatal flaws in the Democratic campaign and their messaging.And I think the messaging missed the primary issue of immigration and economics.
好，那么如果是懂英文的朋友们就肯定很容易明白Frank 刚才讲的意思。那么我现在呢，再给大家来总结一下他刚才说的几点，为什么贺锦丽这次能输掉首先呢，他说我们低估了川普阵营的，就是这个宣传造势吧他这个竞选活动。他的力量首先是低估了。第二个呢，就他过度的依赖于堕胎这个议题因为他们当时呢以为这个堕胎的问题会争取到很多妇女的选票，在有一些州就是兰州可能是拿到了这么一些妇女的这个额外的选票，但是呢他失去了很多原来传统上支持拜登的老年人，就是老年白人的选票。还有呢，关于这个拉丁裔人口，他认为丢掉了很多男性拉丁裔人口的选票，因为呢，可能这一类的这个男性他是并不乐见一位女性能够当美国总统。还有呢，他就是认为这个贺锦丽阵营呢，这个把就是竞选的这些政策表达呢并不到位，所以这么多的原因吧我就是给大家来总结一下。What's the next for the party? Try to mobilize in the next 4 years?
Well, first and foremost, I think there needs to be a total reorganization of the party. It's clear based on the people I've been talking to and the information I've been gathering from different news reports, there would be a total reorganization of the party. I think some of the old leaders are going to be, if they don't move, they will be pushed out of the way. There is a new paradigm coming, if I can say it that way, and they're not, with all due respect, the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers,
You think they will retire?
Well, Nancy Pelosi is on her last term, but I think that Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Jim Clyburn, who I think is a great guy, but they ran the old school campaigns, and this is a totally different era.
Yeah.
And I'm older myself, but I recognize that they missed the mark of communicating directly with the voters. There are too many TV ads, and the ads are not directed. You can't be generic. You have to hit the specific problems that people are looking at. And I thought the Trump campaign, while I didn't care for those ads, they were effective. The fact that I don't care for them doesn't mean that they're not effective. And they had the transgender sex change ad was probably one of the most effective ads, and it was not a good ad in the context of how it presented, but men gravitate to that. Women who concerned about their children gravitate to that, and they were fearful. And this is part of the campaign of fear that Trump was able to capture the imagination of the American public and then put the fear that if Kamala Harris were elected, this was going to happen.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that the Democrats missed.
OK， 那么我给大家来解释一下啊，如果不太懂英文的朋友们，刚才 Frank 说了啊，就是说这个民主党这一次竞选当中，这个过程当中呢，其实有很多的失误，特别是传递政策消息这个方面呢，问题比较多。这个我问他下一步民主党会怎么做呢？他认为下一步经过他跟其他朋友聊天交流认为下一步就是可能民主党的领导层要大换血了，比如说像查尔斯·舒默参议员，还有南希·波洛西众议员这些民主党的大佬领袖们，可能今后也不会再选了，他们肯定是要丢掉这个长期占据的领导位置。You just mentioned
Jim Clyburn.
Jim Clyburn.
He's a congressman from South Carolina.
他是
he's a minority whip.
OK.
For the House of Representatives.
OK， 刚才他提到了这个Jim Clyburn 众议员是来自于 South Carolina， 来自于南卡州的这么一位党鞭，是在这个美国众议院里做少数党的党鞭，少数党现在就是那个民主党，所以他很有可能会撑起领导的这个大梁来。那么还有呢，就是说他认为在这次竞选的这个消息、这个政策消息传递这个过程当中是有误的。为什么呢？因为很多的这个电视广告，它所传递的消息就是说太宽泛了，就是没有打到细节上去。而特朗普他们在做的这个广告，就是虽然他说他并不赞同他们的就是竞选的这些消息就是特朗普的竞选的这些消息，但是呢，他们的确是做得非常有效。比如说在变性这个问题上，特朗普他们的这个广告就是让很多的选民，无论是男性选民还是女性选民，认为如果真的是贺锦丽上台以后，变性这个问题就会很普遍，那么他们家里有孩子的这些家长就会非常的恐惧和担心，因为很多竞选的这个信息传递就是让人们产生一种恐惧的心理。这就是说特朗普他们在政策宣导方面和广告方面是很有效的。So what do you think about Illinois? Because we see, the map, only like a Chicago area is kind of blue. The majority of the state is becoming red.
If you look at the numbers, her plurality in Illinois was reduced. She did not, while she won Illinois, the numbers were not as high as Joe Biden's numbers. And I'm not sure if it was high, but the difference is only, I think Joe Biden won by 60 or more percent, and I think she was in 50-some to 40-some. So it was about a 5 to 7 point win, while when you win, the plurality is what matters, and she has the electoral votes, but at the same time, you could see there was a drop-off, and there was, if you look around the country, there's a drop-off in the amount of votes, and she got fewer votes than Joe Biden got. And the fact of the matter is that had she been able to stay at the same level, had she been able to stay at the same level that Joe Biden, she would have probably won this race. But the blue walls states just underperformed in the areas where we have, the Detroits, the Philadelphias, the Milwaukee's did not perform as well as they should have, and that's one of the reasons why she was not successful in those blue wall. Had she won those blue wall states, she would have won.
就是说，刚才我提到了，我们伊利诺伊州除了芝加哥以外比较蓝以外，我们整个州基本上都变红了。那么刚才呢 ，Frank 就在解释，就是说在我们伊利诺伊州呢，贺锦丽她的选票虽然赢了我们这个州啊，拿到了这个选举人票，但是呢，从这个选民投票的这个情况来看啊，他获得的支持，从老百姓的选票上人数来看啊，是低于这个拜登过去啊是很多的。另外呢，就是关于一些其他兰州还有一些大城市，像费城Philadelphia，what else？Detroit， 底特律米尔瓦基是那个威斯康星州的这么一个大城。那么这些大城呢，这个Harris 就是贺锦丽，她的这个竞选的结果并不是特别的好。So let me ask you another question, okay? A lot of people think the reason she lost, okay, some of the reasons, there's two reasons, okay? One is about, the promoting, like what do you call the
transgender life.
This kind of thing.
LGBTQ.
Yeah, in schools. Okay, another issue is the war in the Middle East. Okay, because like the Muslim population in Michigan, possibly in other areas, she lost support. What do you think, those?
Well, I think there was a mixed message there because I think one of the leaders of that movement in Michigan eventually ended up endorsing her, but I think so many of the
voters,
rank and file, leadership is one thing, rank and file is another. The rank and file people felt that they could not support her because of the position she took and the continual supplying of, the munitions to Israel. And so therefore they felt that was a non-starter for them. However, I don't think that, I know that Detroit, they didn't come out in the numbers that they normally come out in, but I think she did lose Michigan. And that to me is an indication, but I think more so of the undervote out of Detroit was the largest part of her problem. The African American community in Detroit did not come out in the numbers that they expected.
Why?
Well, I think there were several reasons. I think that one, again, gender.
Oh, okay, so they don't like that, right?
I think there is still in males, and especially African American males, there is this gender that women should not lead, that they should follow. I think that there was the issue of her not supposedly specifically having a program to how to integrate them back into society. And then there is the misinformation again about her role as a prosecutor and that all she wanted to do was lock black men up. I think all of that played a role in a lot of
But did she?
No, she had a good record as a prosecutor, but her job as a prosecutor is to prosecute. And while a lot of young men got in trouble with marijuana, she actually created a program. And out of the 1,500, I think, that was in this program, 1,500 that had been arrested for drug or possession or whatever, only about 50 actually went to jail. She put them in a diversionary program. And so I think a lot of that, again, was misinformation.
OK， 刚才呢我聊到了两个问题，一个就是变性的问题，当然 Frank 并没有回答。还有呢就是说，我说是不是他在密西根州失去了阿拉伯人和穆斯林的支持？那么 Frank 刚才说了，的确大家都非常的关注中东的这边的战争。那么在密西根这一带呢，是居住有美国最多的阿拉伯人和穆斯林人口，很多都是选民。 虽然主要的领导呢可能在不同场合表示支持贺锦丽，但是呢他其他的一些主要的社区领袖并不表示认同，所以很多的穆斯林人口和阿拉伯人口投票给了这个特朗普。但是呢Frank 刚才也提到，他不认为特朗普能够改善那边的情况。还有呢就是在Detroit 的黑人这一次大选呢有很多人也没有投贺锦丽的票。为什么呢？他认为有几个原因。一个呢就是刚才他说到的 gender， 就是这个性别，有些黑人男性他们不认为应该让一个女人做领导好，还有呢这个 Frank 认为，他说有一些信息在我们社交媒体或者是各种媒体当中的一些信息是错误的。比如说有一些非裔美国人呢，就是指的底特律这边的，他们认为贺锦丽过去是检察官，把很多男性青年，就是黑人男性青年关进了监狱。刚才 Frank 解释说，当然他是检察官，他的任务就是要这个指控起诉这些犯罪分子。但是呢当时据说有统计吧，有1500人因为大麻的使用而被指控，但是呢真正被关进监狱的也只有50多人。所以也就是说，他并没有把很多的黑人男性或者是青年关进监狱。所以说呢，因为这些方面的一些就是 misinformation 错误的信息让很多人对这个贺锦丽表示不满。So what else do you have to share with our audiences?
Well, I think the leadership of the Democrat Party needs to go to a younger generation.
Yeah.
They communicate better. They're more in the genre of how to communicate. And I think we just need to change our messaging to reach all the people and not just one of the good things that the former President Trump did was he didn't have specifics. He didn't have a specific program. He just talked to the American people. And I think that worked actually better than targeting, because people felt that there was too much sectionalism, too much division, because she had something for women, something for African American men, something for immigration. So instead of targeting the country and saying, this is what I'm going to do for the country, there was too many targets. And so I think we have to get back to the basics of what are you going to do for the country? How are we going to make the United States a better place to live?
刚才 Frank 呢提到了，因为我就说还有什么可以跟大家分享。因为 Frank 刚才说他不认为特朗普有非常具体的一些计划。这个贺锦丽这边呢他的问题在于哪里？在于就是说他可能在这个大选当中，他的一些政策宣导，他是非常的支离破碎。比如说，他说他有什么政策是给非裔男性，有什么是针对妇女，但是他并没有指出他会对整个国家和全国人民能够做出什么样的这个改变或者什么样的策略，并没有表达的特别的清晰。所以大家对他究竟想要干什么，能够为这个国家做什么，他是大家是没有了解的清楚的。所以呢这是从一个民主党资深老党员这边给大家分享他的个人看法。那么今天呢我们就跟大家分享到这儿，咱们下一次再见。Thank you again, Frank, for coming back and share your thoughts, and we possibly
We'll do some more.
Come back again.
Okay.
Thank you. 拜拜。
你好。
你好。OK， 拜拜。